All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Awesome. So today we're tackling train safety. Big topic.
Absolutely, and an important one, especially if you're, well, anyone working around cranes, really. Crane operators, safety managers, anyone.
Right. So we're zeroing in on OSHA regulation 1926.1403, that rule book on how to properly assemble and disassemble cranes.
Yeah, because, a crane's not like your average Lego set. Can't just, wing it.
Definitely not a wing it situation.
No, things can go very wrong very quickly.
Absolutely. So let's break down this regulation, this 1926.1403.
Sure. So the core of it, employers got to have strict procedures in place for both putting cranes together and taking them apart.
Makes sense. We're talking about these massive machines here.
Right. Tons of potential energy, huge steel structures, heavy loads, moving parts. You mess up assembly or disassembly, well...
Yeah, not good.
Not good at all. I mean, you think back to that bridge collapse a while back. Remember that?
I do.
Well, investigations found, improper assembly. That was a huge factor in that whole thing.
Wow.
Lives were lost. Project was derailed. Just a major, major setback.
So yeah, proper procedures are definitely not optional.
Absolutely not. And OSHA 1926.1403, this regulation gives employers basically two options.
And so what's door number one?
Door number one is the straightforward one. Follow the manufacturer's instructions.
Okay, makes sense. Follow the instructions. Sounds easy enough. But in reality, those manuals can be pretty dense.
Oh, yeah. They can be beasts, super technical, tons of jargon.
Right. So it's not just like an IKEA instruction booklet with pictures.
Not quite. This is where having a skilled safety professional on site it's essential, really.
Yeah. Someone who can, I guess, translate the engineer speak.
Exactly. They can decode those instructions, make sure everyone on the ground gets it, answer any questions. They're the bridge between the engineers who wrote the manual and the crew actually doing the work.
Okay, so that's option one, following the manufacturer's instructions.
Yeah.
What's the other option then?
So option two is the employer develops their own in-house procedures.
Oh, okay. So they create their own rule book, essentially.
Kinda, yeah. But there's a big catch. A big one.
What's that?
They got to prove those procedures are at least as safe as the manufacturers. And I mean, really prove it.
Okay, so how do you do that? Can they just say, hey, trust us, we know what we're doing?
Oh, no. We're talking serious proof.
Yeah.
You need meticulous documentation of every single step, thorough risk assessments that cover every potential hazard, and comprehensive training programs for everyone involved.
Wow. So it's not just a quick, rubber stamp approval then?
Not at all. They might need a detailed engineering analysis signed off by a licensed professional engineer, something that really demonstrates that the crane is going to be structurally sound throughout the entire assembly process. It's a high bar to clear.
And it should be, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about people's safety here.
Right. So it seems like the big takeaway here is, follow the rules, don't cut corners.
Exactly. Whether you're following the manufacturer's guidelines or your own super well-documented in-house procedures, the key is sticking to them. But there's one more little wrinkle in 1926.1403 that we got to mention.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the wrinkle?
Synthetic slings.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing something about those in the regulation. What's the deal with those specifically? Why are they singled out?
Good question. So even if an employer, goes through all the hoops to use their own procedures, when it comes to rigging, which is like all the ropes, chains, and slings used to actually move crane components.
Right, the lifting part.
Yeah. When synthetic slings are involved, they got to follow the manufacturer's instructions to the letter. No exceptions.
Interesting. So no wiggle room there.
Right.
Even if they've done all this extra work to use their own procedures for everything else.
Nope. And there's a good reason for that.
What's that?
Well, synthetic slings, they have, these unique properties. They're great for certain lifting tasks, but they can also behave differently under stress compared to, say, chains or wire rope.
How so?
Well, they can be more sensitive to damage, like sharp edges can cut them, or heat can weaken them. So understanding their limits, how much weight they can handle, proper handling techniques, all that, it's critical.
Right. So it's not just about knowing how to put the crane together, but also understanding the materials being used to do it.
Exactly. It all goes back to that culture of safety we talk about.
Right.
Everyone on site needs to understand the risks. They need to know how to prevent accidents, and they need to feel comfortable speaking up if something seems off. It's not just about blindly following the rules. It's about understanding why those rules are there.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about everyone going home safe at the end of the shift.
Exactly.
So let me just recap here. OSHA 1926.148U3. It's all about making sure crane assembly and disassembly is done right. Employers have to have strict procedures, whether they follow the manufacturer's instructions or develop their own, but they got to be able to prove those procedures are top-notch. When it comes to synthetic slings, no cutting corners, always got to go by the book.
You got it.
So big takeaway here for all our listeners. Knowledge is power. Understand these rules. Understand why they exist. And always, always prioritize safety.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See you next time.